Hey there, how are you? I am Wanzie Pooh, and this is the Courageous Believers. Huh? Let me do that. Okay. This is the Courageous Believers Midday Check-In, and I am Wanzie Pooh, and normally I am on 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Courageous Believers show, where we talk about books and building businesses. But I wanted to come in during the middle of the day to see how you guys are doing, to check on you guys. Hey, Kim, how are you? And so I am streaming live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, hello, be sure to subscribe and like this video. And so I just wanted to come on and say, hey, to see how you guys are doing. Just have a conversation and chit chat. No real like structured agenda per se, but it's a midday check in to see how you're doing. Some of you are writing your books, some are building businesses. It's summertime now, so school is over, right? But of course, we have the decision, since we have been in a pandemic, whether we're going to send our children back to school or if we're going to do remote learning or we're going to do like a blended learning style. So we can chat about that for a little bit. What do you guys think about that in terms of sending your children back to school? I have some ideas of my own. Currently, my kids are homeschooled. And so we don't have any type of curriculum from the state or the city. We are, how should I say it? We have to check in with them, but they give us like a really broad guideline of what should be learned this year and the years that they are in. However, they don't have, hey Tracy, they don't have like a structured curriculum for them. That's my responsibility as their homeschool mom and teacher. So what do you think about kids going back to schools? Let's chat about that for a little bit. So these are the options. You can homeschool, or you can where you pick out your child's curriculum, you're responsible for it, and you just basically report back to the school district saying that they're on track, right? So that's one option. The other option is that schools are giving parents choices whether to go totally virtual, total remote learning 5 days a week. They don't have to enter the building, or they can do a hybrid where like they come into the building 2 days a week and they do remote learning 3 days a week. So what do you guys think about that? Tracy said every single day money comes to me. Yes, Tracy. And if you don't know what that means, well, I have this statement that I say every single day money comes to me, and I encourage my viewers to say it as well. And since Tracy has been saying it, money has been coming to her. So Tracy saying she thinks to keep the homeschooling going. Let me hold that so I can share. Give me 1 second, guys. Homeschooling going. So they consider, right, so the remote learning. So homeschooling is when you are, I'm just going to share. Oh, that's on YouTube? Oh, that's cool. I'm watching myself on YouTube, y'all. So homeschooling is when you are responsible for the child's curriculum, right? But now it's going to be, I'm considering re-enrolling my children back into school only because I will have the option of doing 5 days of remote learning. Does that make sense? So I will be able to, use the school's curriculum, the school's teachers and resources, and let them handle all the scheduling of it, but my kids will be home, right? And so that's something that I had wanted. It's like almost now, it's almost like enrolling your child in a virtual school. So I'm considering it, but I still have some, what you call it, some concerns about it. Hey Jeremiah. I still have some concerns about it only because I don't all really like the curriculum all the time. However, I do know how to manage the system, and I can do supplemental work for the children. So I'm thinking about it. And then the children will also, well, I've never really had a problem with, a lot of times people say, well, socialization, the children will have socialization. My kids been in church all their life. They have dozens of cousins. We've never had a problem with socialization. So that's like a myth, right? That the kids need socialization. Because first of all, when they're in the school building, they probably have more socialization online, being able to talk to one another. Because in the school building, you cannot talk. You go in the classroom, first thing the teacher tells you is to be quiet. Answer that, see what that is. First thing the teacher tells you to do is to be quiet, sit down, fold your hands. You're walking in the hallway, the teacher tells you to be quiet. The most socialization you get in a school, for the most part, is who is it? Y'all give me 1 second. Hello? Oh, okay. I'm coming. Hold on. The delivery is outside. Dave? Yep. Um, guys, hold on. Somebody talk to me. I'll be right back, y'all. You want me to get it? I got it. Oh, you want me to talk to me? Hello, everyone. Homeschooling is great. Hey, guys. I'm sorry. I'm at the church. So where was I? So the socialization, right? So that's a myth. So a lot of times people think the socialization is a lot. I mean, I get it because I have great friends from elementary school, but a lot of that socialization was before school and after school or at lunchtime. During the school day, not so much. Tracy says, I think the little one, preschool to fifth grade, should be in the school building. And that's a concern because that's difficult. It's a difficult decision because they're saying that if they go back, they might get sick, right? Or sometimes the kids are asymptomatic, but they're asymptomatic, but they can come home and bring the virus to the parent or bring it to the grandparent or etc. Right? So that's really the risk or the concern. But little children are harder to teach. They need more of a routine. And the concern is if you have a parent, what if you have a parent who has 2 children, different grades, 3 children, different grades, and then they have to do remote learning. That was one of the issues with us being in quarantine. That's a lot on a parent who has not decided to homeschool, right? Who doesn't have that, who didn't make that choice. It was kind of thrown on them, and they had to work. Okay, cool. All right. Yep. Who's the shoulder for you? And they already had something to drink. They're good. Pizza's here. All right. Y'all want pizza or you want to wait? Go ahead. 1 slice. Wash your hands. Sanitize your hands. So I'm sorry, guys. It's midday. I'm at the church. They're working. I got the kids with me. So that type of thing. But the children being in school. If you eat it now, go ahead and eat it now. I'm sorry, y'all. And I'm rubbing my nose. So it's a challenge, right? This homeschooling thing is a challenge, or the remote learning. And then what about the parents who have to go back to school? They can't stay home. And so they are used to sending their children to school. And we're not even going to talk about this after school thing. And summer camp is a wash. I don't even want to talk about that. But not necessarily a wash, but the concerns are there. So what would you guys do? Tell me, Tracy, what would you do if you had a choice right now? If you had a 9th grade freshman in high school, and then you had a 5th grade, almost middle schooler, what would you do? Would you send them back to school? Would you do blended, like the hybrid part, or would you just continue to homeschool? I mean, I'm blessed that I have homeschooling is one of the things that I have wanted to do for a long time anyway, but that was my choice. So it's a little easier for me. It's a little because I'm already in the mood of it. But some people are really conflicted. Some families are really conflicted and concerned, and like for real, they don't want to do remote learning. They want to put the kids in school. And then the other side of that too, guys, are the teachers. The teachers were not trained to do remote learning. They were trained for one to many instruction. They were trained to sit with children in a classroom. They were trained that type of instruction. Remote learning is a whole different type of type of learning. So when I'm still in my PhD program, but I took a break. So when I started my PhD program, that's my focus: instructional design for online learning, meaning to formulate and to create curriculums and pacing schedules of how you should learn online, or different things like that. So when you study online learning, it's a different it's different because you can't really have the conversation. The child has to type, right? How can the child type their responses if they haven't learned how to read yet and write yet, right? So it's like we're moving them to a computer to type, and they haven't even written things down yet. So it's a different learning process. Remote learning is different. So now you have a mouse and you could just click stuff and you can read it, or maybe the curriculum can read things to you. So now you're audible and you visual. But when it comes to, you go into a bank and they say to write your name or to write a sentence or to write a declaration by hand, the kids, they're not used to handwriting anymore. Like, all of these things have to be considered. My kids' ages are 14 and 10. So one is going into ninth grade as a freshman and one is going to fifth grade. Definitely playing Russian roulette with our children because it's so many unknowns. So many unknowns. Homeschooling is a new wave. Patience is involved. Definitely. Homeschooling has been around for many, many years, right? But a lot of people in the brown and black community were not doing it. Recently, the last maybe like 10 years or so that I've seen personally, people are doing it more and more, and not just for like religious reasons, just as this is what lifestyle reasons. This is what they want to do. A lot of people travel. Some people just don't like the school system. I particularly am not pleased with the school system per se. Not so much the work, but the attitude of how things are done. The really how different school districts are funded better, different neighborhoods are funded better, afforded more opportunities, and that has a lot to do with how we vote. That has a lot to do with how we show up in our own community. That has a lot to do with our own viewpoint of education. And so even to the point where now it's like, all right, I've wanted to move the last few years. Like, I live in a pretty nice area of Queens, but I've wanted to move because I know if I move across the Long Island line, the education, the resources will be better for my children. Just in general, the intensity of the work would be better. The education would be better. And it should not be that way. It's too many red lines. It's too many red tape. And so, I'm talking from a person. I've worked in the Department of Education as a full-time teacher as well as a substitute teacher, and I see what goes on. It's a lot of dynamics. So I'm not throwing off on any teachers or any bureaucracy, the DOE. I'm not throwing off on anything because it's a lot to manage. However, the parents have to make the right decision for themselves. We have to make the right decision for ourselves. So Sandy says, I like your idea of enrolling them but keeping them at home. And I like that too, because it kind of takes the weight off of me, and it puts it back on the school, but I can still monitor it, if that makes sense. I can still monitor it, and it's not that dynamic of them going to school and the environment. Environment plays a huge role in the development of your child, right? So Symphony's last school, I did not really care for. I didn't care for some of the comments the teachers made. I didn't care for there was a lot of violence in her school. And I'm like, I'm not really down for that, because I know association brings about assimilation. So I'm not trying to isolate my child, but if I can put them in a better environment, absolutely, absolutely, I will. And so online, it's a little different, because if you have a remote learning, the teacher's not going to send on this Zoom and say, well, you need to get your behind and sit your behind down because you ain't learned nothing yesterday anyway. They're not going to do that. You understand what I'm saying? you know, they're not going to like belittle the children in the class or just throw off because mommy could be listening because this is remote learning now. Mommy could be in the other room. So what you said to my kid? So it's different, you know, because some teachers say stuff behind closed doors, and then open school night they got a whole different tune for the teacher. Oh, girl, violence. It was they were at gym and a grown man came on their campus with a knife and a gun looking for a teenager. One guy got stabbed in his back right after school. Fights in school, right in the classroom in front of her, because they were what you call it? The two guys, one it was a mess. It was a mess. They were what they call it now, cyberbullying. And so one had shown their private part to pretending that he was a girl and show me your private part, all this other stuff. And come to find out it was a boy texting a boy. And then the boy showed everybody in class. And when the boy who was outed out found out, he tore that boy up in the classroom. So too much. And that was just like in what, 6 weeks? And that ain't even all of the discussion, all of the things that went down. And yeah, stuff like that. So I ended up going up to the school and talked to the staff for like 45 minutes, for the principal, four assistant principals, and the social worker, to talk about symphony. Because what happened, and she might not remember this because now she's like, oh mom, I really had fun in that school, blah blah blah. But there were weeks she would just wake up and say, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to be here. And when the conversation turned to I don't want to be here and I don't want to be in this school and I really don't want to go, nah, those are one of the signals for me. Yep, just violent. So that was a motivator for me to take her out of the school. And then some of it was spiritual. Is what I see for my kids, what I want for my kids. They're good kids, and I want a different path for their life. So that's important to me. And it was also important for me to to help them pursue their careers early, so they would not have to wait. Help them pursue their careers early. So acting and different things like that. So homeschooling was one of the ways that I can keep them out of school without, getting a tardy message, a tardy message from the school, like they're out again, like they went on an audition type thing, right? So, but this is our midday check-in. Thank you guys for talking and chatting with me. So you guys are good. Let me see what Sandy is saying. Absolutely, and they're very difficult decisions at times. So I'm like, if I'm thinking about it, even though they would go by the same curriculum, have the teachers, but it's a different method, right? They won't have the same distractions in the classroom. My kids love online stuff, so I don't even have that issue with them in terms of schooling. Like being on the computer or adjusting, that type of thing. So that part is good. But I'm just trying to, and the truth is, listen to this. 70 had got into a few charter schools, and I was like, no, she's not gonna go there or whatever, because most likely she'll probably just homeschool again. So I let those seats go, right? I just let the seat go. Me too, Sandy, right? Pursuing their careers earlier than later, while their talent is showing, right? I wanted to mold them early. Um, so one of the charter schools called me and was like, "Are you still interested in Symphony coming to the school?" And I'm like, now y'all know charter schools, them deadlines be tight. They don't let you in after the deadline, all this type of stuff. So, things have changed. I was like, they still got seats open. People are probably pulling their kids out. A lot of people will probably homeschool. So I was like, well, Lord, if this school called, I need another school to call. One of the schools that she really wanted to get into that she didn't get into. So I'm like, if this school could call, then another school could call, because maybe kids, parents are pulling their kids out. So y'all pray. You're upright. I didn't give them an answer yet. I didn't give them an answer yet because I'm still weighing my options, right? I'm still weighing my options. Yes. Sorry, y'all. They're here working. So, just came and check on you. Came to discuss a little bit. So I'll see you guys tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to know more about me, you can head over to my website, www.wanzeleffish.org. And let me know if you're watching a replay. Let me know how you feel about homeschooling, how you feel about it. Homeschooling, virtual school, remote learning, blended learning. Um, maybe I'll do a whole live discussion on it, right? Maybe I'll do a series on that alone and to see to help parents figure out what to do. And so appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. You are past this stage, Sandy. So definitely put the prayers up for us that we make the right decision. All righty. Love you guys. I'll be back on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great afternoon.